broadcast of Jerusalem's Gates. Got some news for you. I thought you may be interested in finding out. Well, ISIS. I mean, goodness gracious, we all know the terrible things that ISIS has done, particularly to the Christians, persecuting them, torturing, beheading them, crucifying them, and the list goes on and on and on. And coming out of the Baghdad Post. U.S.-backed SDF launches final battle against ISIS. Now, as you know, ISIS at one time controlled a tremendous amount of land. Before we go, I show you this map. Let's read a little of the article. The U.S.-backed Syrian Democratic Forces (SDF) began an assault against the final ISIS enclave in eastern Syria on Saturday, aiming to wipe out the last vestige of the jihadist group's caliphate and the SDF's area of operations. So the last battle to rid them of what little land they had left as we speak, is going on. ISIS was a force to be reckoned with at one time. As you see in this map, the red is the areas controlled by ISIS at one time, and it takes up a big part of Iraq, a lot of Syria. Now, if you add that plus the land that's claimed by ISIS at at one time, and that's the darker tan color, so more than half of Iraq, the majority of Syria was controlled by ISIS. And it's absolutely amazing that the nations did a good job and got together and got rid of evil. That was one war that needed to be fought, if you want to call it a war, conflict, whatever. The conflict against ISIS was one conflict that had to be fought for just the fact that what they were doing to Christians and the human rights atrocities they were doing. Absolutely incredible. Kudos go to the Kurds. The Kurds fought bravely to defeat ISIS. United States, Russia. A lot of countries had a lot of involvement in getting rid of the caliphate. Now, ISIS, the members have spread out, some with the Yemen. They all spread out everywhere. Will they regroup? That's the question. Will they regroup? That's $1 million question. Only time will tell. I don't think ISIS will be the powerhouse they used to be. Now, there may be other groups that spring up in the future that will do like ISIS did. It kind of reminds me, when I was coming back from Israel, I sat next to a college professor, a history Jewish college professor in Israel. And he told me the people that make up ISIS, that particular mindset of person, they wage war. It's in their nature to wage war. And he told me that if they run out of people to fight, they'll fight each other. And that kind of made a lot of sense to me, studying ISIS over the many years and everything. But I got a video from Al Jazeera. It goes more in detail about the last footage of land. And we love you. God be with you. Here comes the video.
The stage is set for what's being called the final ground battle against ISIL. The Kurdish-led Syrian Democratic Forces, or SDF, has the backing of American air power, and ISIL is surrounded. There have already been exchanges of fire. Commanders are confident that this will be ISIL's last stand.
This battle will be sealed in the next coming days. Most of the terrorists in Baghouz are foreign. In the last 2 months, most who have handed themselves in were arrested. They were foreign. There are varying numbers. According to civilians who are leaving Baghouz, there may be around 1,000 civilians and between 500 and 600 terrorists. So that means there may be close to 2,000 or 3,000 civilians.
ISIL once controlled large parts of Iraq and Syria. But a concerted campaign by regional and international forces has forced them back to a small area around the village of Baghouz. While SDF military commanders are promoting this as the end of ISIL, many experts believe the group will continue to pose a threat.
President Trump has been very clear to say that this is the caliphate that is being destroyed, not ISIS, the terrorist group, which will continue to survive. And as we know, ISIS members have fled to Yemen, to Libya, Nigeria. They're scattered about the Middle East. But of course, this is we believe there are several thousand left scattered around Iraq and Syria, and many of them are foreign fighters.
The coming battle will be a milestone in Syria's war, but humanitarian challenges will continue long after the fighting ends. Around 20,000 people have been forced from their homes ahead of the assault on Baghouz, including the families of ISIL fighters. They'll join thousands more in refugee camps where conditions are dire due to chronic shortages of food and medicines. Much of the country's infrastructure is in ruins. These people won't know when they'll be able to return home.